So today we're talking about interracial relationships, intercultural relationships, and this stems from a post that's on Facebook, right? I see this guy, he took a screenshot of his conversations with his ex, who is African American, and the conversation goes like, hey, yeah, she commented on it saying, yeah, if you're treating me right, I see you treating this white lady right, blah, 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 and it's messed up, it's so to say. And he's like, well, if you treated me right, maybe we would have been good or whatever. So this whole thing just kept going, building, people coming in, talking about how they feel, and people pretty much just bashing him, period. Like, why you with this white woman when you had a black girl, you know? But he keeps saying, look, she was trash, or she treated me poorly. So, and that's why we're talking about this today, because everybody, this is a deep topic. Everybody talks about interracial this and interracial that.
I mean, those topics are very, they could get very deep, but when it comes to love, you can't really tell anybody who to love. Whoever they love is who they're in love with, who they're in love with, and you can't change that. So I think when it comes to that, it is a touchy subject because you kind of like go into the cultural backgrounds, and I think that's where the real difference is. People want to not intermingle when it comes to culture, because when you date or you're married to somebody, you're not just marrying that person or in a relationship with that person, you're in a relationship with that person's culture. And if those cultures don't blend, then you end up having a lot of friction, whether it's between the two parties or their families or whatever it may be. And I think that's where the issues come about. But if two people are in love, they'll find whichever way to make things work. And they can overcome that. The only battle is maybe their families and people outside of that. Because at the end of the day, you have a relationship. A relationship is a journey, and along that journey you have hurdles to get through and this, that, whatever. So if those two people can get through it, that's cool, but they still have to worry about the outside world and what the outside world
And I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I don't think it's, at least not around what I've observed, not a thing of race per se, but people that are really into their culture and are very like, you know, I want to take this with me and carry it on my back, all that stuff.
Right.
It gets a little bit complicated. For example, as I was growing up, I grew up here, but I started like loving my Nigerian culture, right? And I started finding that I was getting a little bit more attracted to people that were Nigerian. I've dated other races before, but I just like, I guess it worked out fine. It was cool. I remember with the Hispanic guy, there were things that we could relate on in terms of like, they're big on like respect and culture. Their parents or his mom was very loving and accepting. Yeah, but honestly, I really just love my Nigerian guys because I can relate to them when it comes to food, jokes, even like pidgin English, like speaking pidgin English, like making African Nigerian jokes, dancing to Nigerian music, you know? It's things that we could really relate on, and that's what makes it fun for me. If I met a Caucasian or an Asian or, you know, another person that was deeply invested in even learning about my culture or having that type of understanding, it would work out fine. So it's more of a cultural thing than a race thing, I feel.
I agree. I think it's easier to just date within the culture for me personally.
But so you don't agree? Now if you're dating within the culture, there's a totally different thing. But then she's talking about having somebody from the other culture come into her culture.
That's the question. I mean, if it happened, but preference or just what is easier. I'm looking for easy. What's easy?
So you just gonna go with the easy part, so you don't have to deal with all that extra nonsense.
All the trouble that I've seen. Yes. So basically, I've seen firsthand how dating other cultures can be. So that's why I decided to stick within my own. You know, I've had family that's dated outside of the Nigerian culture, and I've seen how our parents have reacted to it, and I just prefer a much more relatable culture, and I guess that's why I'm sticking to Nigerians.
We have Chelsea here. So we know she's currently, you know, is in a racial relationship. How did that work for you?
Personally, I haven't had any issues. I grew up with white people, like
in the country.
With them, so spent out of their house, everything, like my whole life. So it wasn't that big of a deal. All my friends are okay with it. My parents are okay with it. His family's okay with it. They're very accepting. I haven't personally had any issues with it. All I can say is, like, as far as, like, you know, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, Like, I'm kind of passionate about that, but it's hard for me to explain it to him because he can't really understand. And I do agree with that. Like, you can't understand because you're not black. Like, you can sympathize, but you can't understand because you'll never be in my shoes.
So is he like? Nah, I see what you're saying. He can't understand, but when you get to a point where is he struggling? Is he trying to understand it?
He tries to understand, and but he can't. He just can't. Like, he will never feel the way I feel. It just won't happen.
I feel like that, as passionate as you are, like as much as he wants to understand and maybe support you even and the movement, he just can never be as concerned. It's gonna get to a point where you can't force what it is not there. Like, I really honestly don't understand. Like, I've never been treated the way that maybe, African Americans have been treated, so it's gonna take he just will never understand, and that's okay, right? You're okay with that.
No, but here's the thing. So I get what we're saying, but just look at it this way. So he's trying to understand or whatever it is. You support the Black Lives Matter movement, but look at it this side where he's out with his friends, white friends. There's a room right there for them to throw stuff in his mind and his head, like, what are you doing? Or, I'm just...
Not really. I mean, my boyfriend kind of like, I won't say prefers black people. He hangs around a lot of black people. So, I mean, he has white friends.
He listens to hip hop.
Yeah.
So you have like an Eminem boyfriend?
I mean, he's in the white fraternity, so there's probably like the most white people he's probably like been around like recently. But he's very like, he doesn't let them say anything. He doesn't agree. If they say something, he
has a mind of his own.
Yeah, he's not like, because he's not influenced by it. Because his parents are like that. His parents are super accepting. I've met his grandparents, his uncles, like everybody's been really accepting. So they're pretty open to everything.
Right.
So, like I said before, there are a lot of things that he doesn't understand because he is white and I'm black. So he can't really understand what I go through, the things that I do. And, we've had to grow together, and like I had to grow and see things from his point of view and see things from mine. And the first time actually was for Christmas last year. We went to church, to my grandmother's church, and it's like an old Baptist church, like old Black Baptist church. And, people catch the Holy Ghost, they're in the spirit, they're yelling and screaming, and he's just looking like, what are you doing? Like, what is this lady doing? Like, this lady behind us, she was really into it. I don't know, that day, Jesus just got her, so I don't know. But
it takes a certain mindset to say that I'm going to venture out and date someone else out of my race, because if you're easily influenced and, little comments are going to get to you, I don't think you would even get to the point of dating someone else to begin with after that race.
I used to work with this girl. God bless her heart. A very nice girl. She's black. And we used to talk about societal topics and things like that. We got into racial relationships and this, that, whatever. Actually, we were driving one time. This was in college. We used to work with kids, so we would go pick them up. So while we were going to pick up the kids, we were driving and she saw a white guy, a black guy with a white girl. And she just like, And it was just one of those disgusted, like, what's going on? And she broke down pretty much like how she feels a certain way when she sees a black guy dating a white girl. And it's like, it's plenty of black girls out here. Why pick a white girl?
Right.
And I listened to her and I can't say I really felt where she was coming from, but I understood. But I didn't get why harbor so much hate. She's in a relationship. Her husband's black. It's not like it's affecting her. But I hear a lot of black women feel disgusted about that kind of situation, seeing a black man, especially if they feel like the black man is strong, successful. Why choose a white woman? In today's society, you have a lot of entertainers, sport athletes, actors, models, whatever. And especially sport athletes, and they end up picking a woman outside of their race.
I had this discussion with a friend, and we were just talking about what black men see white women as, like they've reached that level, and it's just like they try to get everything. I don't know how to put this in words, but basically like they're rich, they think they made it, they got this, they think they made it, and it's like the white women, getting the white women after everything they've been through is like, oh, that's the end goal. Like that's like when they feel that they've reached success, I guess, in a way. Am I making sense to y'all?
So you're saying when they're successful, they have all the money in the world.
It's just like some of their mentality, like just from going back, is just like they try to match the white man and be at that level, even though they know society is still has them here, and it's just like, I've gotten this, I've gotten that, let me get the white girl at the end of the day. Like,
most of these white girls want the black guys too.
No, I'm not saying they don't. They obviously do because they're with them.
But
they want to dibble and dabble or whatever like that, but it's just like,
let me bring it back to, I'm gonna bring back to what started the whole thing. So this particular guy who posted this on Facebook, so do y'all think that, well, I don't want to come out right and say the black girl, the African American lady was rude to him, but I mean, keep in mind how it came up. So was that the main, in his situation, for example, let me just pose the question. Do y'all think that if the girl would have done right, he would just stay with her? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, possibly. You don't really know. You can't say that, oh, just because he dated a black girl. Because I've dated black guys and my boyfriend's treated me better than them before. So it's just kind of like you can't really speak on, oh, well, now he's dating this white girl. Like, he just left her for a white girl. And, you know, it's not like that because you don't know how she treated him. People just assume that. Like, especially like black women, they like to be like, oh, he just wanted to be with a white girl. It's not like, were you doing what you were supposed to do as this woman to, like, make him happy? And if you weren't, he moved on to somebody who would. Yeah. Regardless what.
And it's not like something happened in that instance and he was like, I'm never dating black women. We don't know.
But regardless, people were still coming on there and bashing him, saying,
is it easier to date a white woman?
That's the question I'm trying to pose. Is a black woman more difficult to be with?
There's that heavy stereotype that African American women are aggressive and they are difficult to deal with and they are crazy. So I mean,
even with the black guy, you see what I'm saying?
With everybody, exactly.
Okay, so let's answer that then. Is it a fact that all black women are crazy and hard to
it's not a fact. That's
most definitely not.
Right?
I will say this, there are black guys who prefer, like I've had guys that come around and be like, oh, I like white girls, because because like when somebody says something about the hair, like I want to wake up in the morning and be able to, I was like, what?
I heard that. I want to be able to run my hands through their
or
hair.
like, oh, she's not crazy, they're
more fun.
They do more things and just stupid stuff like that.
Like do more things like what?
Twerk.
Like, you know
They're more flexible.
What?
In terms of like, and flexible in terms of like when you have conversations with them, it's not what I've heard is that it's they're more adventurous, not just sexual, just like in general, appealing to. They don't always like.
They're more open to supposedly do things that we're not open to.
Right, like we're more like apparently we're more like if we don't want to do something like no, we're not doing it. You can't make us. But with them, they're a little bit more compromising is what I've heard, and they're a little bit more. So guys like that.
I like a compromise too.
We can I can compromise.
I know everything.
It's really just based on individual, and I feel like people. Just that watching that clip from the Breakfast Club with. His name's Dr. Umar, right?
Umar Johnson.
Yeah, I thought he was going in some direction.
I understood where he was coming from because he's saying, look, keeping in mind what's going on in society, keeping in mind how the black man rose up in society, keeping in mind the slavery, all that stuff, how the police brutality, all that stuff. So he's saying. And then imagine my son walking in with a white girl. I'm gonna feel some type of way. That's what he's saying, and I see it. I understand it. It makes sense.
How does that affect you? Like that's not cheap. I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, yes, I think if you date outside your race, they're not gonna understand. You know, like I said, my boyfriend doesn't understand everything, but like he was acting like, well, I would be ashamed if my son, or just like that was just
he was just saying that, you know, and he may have lived through it. He may have experienced it. He may have been a victim of it. So he's really just saying how he truly feels.
The other point that he made was, if you look at Asian communities, Caucasian communities,
they do within their
race. Any other community, so that's why I say it goes more than just race. They support each other. They marry between each other. They keep the wealth. Look at the Jews. They keep the wealth between each other. He said his point was, and this is referencing the interview on the Breakfast Club with Dr. Umar Johnson. He said the only race or culture that does not do that is the black culture. And I think a lot of his energy stems from the fact that he wants black people to at least do that, because a lot of times we look at how other cultures look at us, and they don't see us as being organized or together, unified. And it's not saying everybody's going to think the same way or marry within the black race, but in terms of thought, for me, it's more important about focusing on yourself. And when I say yourself, I mean us as a culture, as a people, as a race. If that's what we're going to focus on, let's take care of ourselves first, because you can't really worry about what's going on outside of yourself when yourself ain't right. For the most part. So I think it's very important for whether we're talking about financial issues, health issues, social issues, cultural issues within the black community. It's important to focus on those kind of things, make our neighborhoods safer. Let's start educating ourselves on who we are. Let's get the history right, because those are the kind of things that I personally feel will make us better, make us understand how rich we are as a people. And those are the kind of things that we should tap into more. And then, in a way, all the things outside of that, when it comes to other races and cultures and how they look at us, will change.
Let's take it to the cultural side of it now. So, now me myself, I like my culture. You know, I love my culture. I have no issues trying to experience another culture, right? I dated Indians before, shit. Like, I experienced their culture. What you looking at me for? And I think I don't have preferences like that. If you look good to me, we gonna make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. Shit. I dated Indian girls. It was fun. Just knowing their culture. You know, meeting new people, and I find myself sat doing shit that they do. I'm like, hey, well, uncle, how are you? Hey, come on now. Hey, you like my daughter? And like, yes, uncle, come on, yes, let's do it. But not everybody is ready to you know, do that and try to see something else, experience something else. You know what I'm saying? Our parents, for example, they don't. If I tell my parents I want to, you know, I'm trying to be with this other culture, I'm trying to be with an Indian girl, I'm trying to be with a white person, I'm trying to be with a Chinese person, it's gonna be issues.
Ultimately, that's your decision. Like, you can choose to listen to them, but like, it's ultimately what makes you happy, because whatever makes your parents happy doesn't necessarily make you happy.
That's true.
But their sadness, their backbiting, their backtalks will always feed back in.
Exactly,
You know?
and
You always come back.
ultimately you will be unhappy.
It's real interesting because it's not just like it was pointed out earlier, it's not just about your race in terms of if you're black or not. Because you could be I'm from Nigeria, you could be a Nigerian dating a African American girl, and my parents would be against that.
Wait. You could be in Nigeria, a Yoruba guy dating an Igbo girl.
Right.
An Igbo girl.
And it
Yoruba guy
becomes,
dating it will still be
and
issues with that.
and basically it just goes back to them feeling like you have more in common with somebody that's from whatever tribe that you're from, whatever village that you're from, because they know the history of your family, they know your struggle and your strengths, they can relate to that, this, that, whatever. And, you know, it's good to be understanding because I can understand that. But the beauty about being understanding is not constricted by what race you're from, where you're from, this, that, whatever.
Dropping all the gems.
I'm thinking, man, I'm just like
Also, it's not necessary.
but
It's not only Nigerians, because I know even Hindus. They if your star is on the line, they're like, nah, it's a no-go. You know
Be
what I'm
like a couple shades darker.
Yeah, and their generation is from you do this and you do it and not think outside. You don't question what else, or you don't ask. But as we evolve as a people and become more understanding, more loving, and because we travel, you know, we're not constricted by traveling by boats or whatever anymore. I mean, you got cell phones, you have airplanes. Shit, some of the niggas be teleporting from one place to another. I'm just playing.
Black Mirror. Y'all watch that on
My
Netflix?
friend told me to watch it.
Some crazy
It was
board thing.
creepy.
It's so crazy because it's creepy because that's where this
where the world
freaking
is
life
going
is
to.
going. That's where the world is going.
What's the
Anyway,
name of that one?
Black Mirror. It's a show on Netflix.
I've heard it.
It's oh gosh, y'all need to watch.
I think I watched that. Honestly, I watched it.
My parents say several things to do several things I don't agree with, and I'm not them. So
Well.
And I agree with her. And I think again, it always depends on the individual. Because for her, she's a person that's like, if they didn't agree, that's fine. It's not their relationship. It's not their love. It's me to deal with. But for someone like me, who kind of cares, I'd be a little bit uncomfortable if I know that, yeah, my man has, checked them and he's told them, I don't care what y'all feel. I would still be uncomfortable not knowing, or rather knowing that they are not too comfortable with me. Because at the end of the day, if I'm getting married to you, I want to be able to come to our family functions together. I want to come to our house. I want us to sit together. So I don't think the relationship would work in that situation where you know that there are people that are not accepting of you because you are of a different race, a different culture. There are people in the same culture, in the same race, that still care about things like religion. Oh, y'all not the same religion. I'm sorry, we can't get married. Those kind of experiences come about, and in that situation you have to decide how I'm going to deal with. I don't think it's based off on just like, I need my man to stand up for me, or I need my woman to stand up for me. It's like, okay, so even after they stand up for me, how are we going to relate as a family?
So how did your mom feel when you came up to her and told her, hey,
she didn't really care. She's just like, to her at first it was just like, oh, you're just dating, like, whatever, I don't care. But I think she would prefer me to be a black man. Like, I think both my parents would prefer that, but they've never like been mean to him. They taken him in, let him come over. Like I think that they just kind of like, they're just like, oh, it's okay.
Are you scared you're gonna get into a sunken place?
What?
I'm just playing.
He said a sunken place.
I'm just playing.
I feel like you shouldn't. I would like my parents. I guess I have a different situation. My parents aren't together, so to me, I don't really take relationship advice from them. I do whatever I want to do, and you're just gonna have to deal with it.
No, Chelsea. I don't know about all that. Cause see, me myself, look, Nigerian parents, whether they are broken up or whatever it is, you are still going to listen to them. You will take all the advice in the world. You will take it. That's how it works, okay?
I mean, if it's somebody that they're telling me like, oh, you really don't need to be with this person, it's a bad person, now listen. But like, as far as you being like, oh, well, he's white, you don't need to be dating him, because to me, that's like, that's not something. Color isn't important to me. That's not something that's big enough for me to break up with this person just because of their color.
And that's the beauty of life. I think life is about meeting people, learning about them, their backgrounds, where they're from, religion. That's a whole different ballgame right there. But and then people start learning about each other and accepting the fact that life is a huge playground. We're all here to have fun, like we were taught, treat others nicely. Yeah, have fun.
We're all human at the end of the day, so I mean, in reality, it shouldn't matter. But I mean, once you have these social conflicts,
and that's the battle, because you have,
because I mean, we weren't born like with this person's that color, it kind of just race kind of just was formed,
It's a social construct.
So
is what we see, is what people put in our faces, is what our older ones put in our faces, is what we see in society. That's what we take in.
And see, a lot of times, if we're really gonna flip it, you have to start looking at the kids to understand, because like you said, we're not born that way. So babies, they good until they start building their ego and looking around and seeing all this stuff that's going on, because they learn from habits and repetition and all of that.
True.
So when they start learning these things, we're actually teaching them wrong because of what already exists.
So which brings us back to, it's a circle. It's not going to end. It's not going to end.
It's not. It's gonna. People will keep having this conversation. We're gonna.
Yeah, I think this conversation always gonna be there.
It's always gonna be there, and we're just gonna keep.
Now, keep in mind. This conversation we just had. It makes sense. It's good to have it, but this was just a little one-sided as far as. There's other things out there that make this particular topic we just talked about make it more intense.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
There's things that will happen here that will still make this more intense and keep growing, keep getting crazy, and get bigger.
Yeah.
Police brutality, all that nonsense. So we don't want to get into that, but having this conversation we just had, you open my eyes to certain things. I understand things better, but I'm gonna leave it the way it is. I don't want to have the other things be a factor, because those things do matter, and it's things that we want to talk about down the line, whatever. But those will impact this in a big way, where you will be able to understand where Dr. What's his name Umar was coming from. You see what I'm saying? Because he had good points. He was coming from somewhere. He was boiling.
I think he
You know what
had
I'm
good
saying?
points, but certain stuff. I mean,
But like I
agree with
said,
him.
those things are what make him say these things,
Right.
which you may not take
Yeah, he's
greatly.
seeing it from a
You see what
different
I'm saying?
perspective.
Right.
So it's crazy. It's just passionate.
It's-
Me-
I don't think there can ever, like, again, with many things, there can just never be an answer to, like, oh, so how are we going to fix the mindset of people on interracial relationships? No, it's never going to be like that. So, I guess it's cool that we are constantly trying to learn from people and hear what their perspectives on this is. And,
Anybody's
yeah.
out to the
I still
individual
love my
first.
Niger boys. For some reason, Igbo guys in particular, but I've been trying to venture into Yoruba these days. I mean, who knows? We'll see where it goes. We'll see.
And she loves our
I've
Igbo
grown to
boy.
love them. She loves her white boys. Who do you love?
I said Oyibo.
Oh, he said,
But I mean, you know, I guess at the end of the day, we're talking about everybody be fair in your relationship,
Right.
treat each other right.
Treat each other right. Love,
like
respect.
the dude who left his African American girlfriend for a white person.
Mm-hmm.
He did it for a reason. So I guess hopefully, if she treated him right, they would have broken up. So hey, you these black girls, treat your man right, so that he won't dump you. So that he won't dump you, treat him right. You know, I mean the guys still, you know, treat the girls right. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, one love, man. One love.
Oh yeah, by the way, this potatoes and eggs was
Shout
kind
out
of good.
to Jo Photography,
Yeah,
also
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Cook, Mr.
No. Mr. Cook.
He killed it.
Mr.
He
Who.
killed it. I've been throughout this whole
You
show. I've just
tearing
been
it up, bro.
turning it up.
You tearing it up. So when somebody play over this empty, man. The plate's empty over there.
Yeah, Chelsea finished hers. She obviously liked it.
Before we started shooting, she finished with
It's like my
but-
second plate.
scrambled eggs,
I don't
some
eat pretty. I
chopped
didn't want to eat
vegetables.
I don't eat pretty. No, you're right.
Yeah, well, it's cool. It's what it is. But this is Cross Talk. We just come out here and we just talk, have conversations, meaningful conversations. You know, make it happen. What you doing, man? Hey, she just feels
The food's eating her at this point.
Hey, good talk, good talk, good talk.
Alright, so if you're watching this and you have a question, you have a comment, or you have a suggestion, or maybe you just want to be a part of the show, feel free to email us, send us a direct message, or just leave a comment below.